Well, hello guys. How are you on you out there in YouTube land? Just want to say thanks for the followers. My page keeps growing. Glad you are liking my content. Sorry if I sound too rednecky or sound like Forrest Gump when I'm reading all duh duh duh. But hey, it's all fun. But anyways, let's get on with the audio part and let's get this mother lover going. Tell some scary shit. Hello and welcome back to another scary edition of Ghost Stories Told from the South. I am your host, Stephen LeBooth, and we got some creepy stuff for you today. Alright, guys, how is everybody out there in scary land? And of course, like I always say, hit that subscribe button, the follow button, whatever. Do that right now. I'm doing a video for this podcast, so check it out too. For this episode, I'm gonna, like I said, keep doing more and more of the toilet papers right there in the back. Yeah, that's real awesome putting the video. But anyways, yeah, I've been getting them caught up, and thank you guys. I'm gonna get caught up tonight more after I record this and get it ready for Saturday morning, guys. But hope everybody had a great week at work. Like I said, thank you guys for the understanding for changing the when I released it. Now it is a lot better for me. I can come home on Fridays, chill, because I got off early. Any day kicks off my vacation. So I might try to do some extra stuff this week to throw in here. I ain't done any specials for a while, so I think I might do something like that. Get on here more this week and talk to y'all. I cannot reach that. It is driving me nuts. Alright. Sorry. I had to move that. Well, I'm doing a video, of course, like I said, and I had some toilet paper. A roll of toilet paper right there, and I just got ready to look pretty trashy now. It's spooky. Alright, I got a great show for you. We're going to cover more water stuff. This is Michigan. We're going to be covering water, lakes and rivers and lighthouses and stuff. So, trying to keep it something like that because, like I said, when summer comes up, I'm going to flip it because I try to keep it not always, talking about a haunted house or property. I try to mix it up, go around the world, get stuff. So, hope I have a good mixture of stuff for you here. But today it's going to be all Michigan stuff. So, well. Oh, and I do want to thank everybody out there who listens. The numbers keep growing and they keep getting bigger and better. Don't forget, go check out the YouTube channel. It's Ghost Stories Told from the South. You can look at my ugly mug. Why I'm doing this? Because, if you just always listen to the audio, you never really get to see what's going on behind the scenes. So I'm going to start recording, YouTube videos too, like I do. But I'm going to put on there stuff in between. I mean, me getting ready for the show and all that. So, behind the scenes stuff. Alright, guys. Well, like always, grab you a nice warm blanket, a nice cup of coffee, or a nice cup of cocoa. Snuggle up by the fire. Get nice and cozy. Because your scary time's about to begin. Baby. That sounded creepy and kind of weird. Sorry about that. But anyways, let's get into it. Alright, our first story is about the drowning or the Mission Point Resort on McKinney Island in Michigan. Let me pull this down some. The story goes that Harvey, whose real name has been private by his family, was once a student at the short-lived McKinney College, which operated on the island from 1968 to 1970. And I have got to change into my bifocals real quick. Yeah, I know that gives my age away. I'm only 47, man. Give me a break. Alright, that's better. Okay, Harvey is said to have been in love with a fellow student, but things took a tragic turn. He went missing one winter, and his body was found in the woods following spring. So apparently up there, he went missing during the winter, and they get so much snow and stuff up there that he didn't get found till spring when everything melted off. However, climate says that here had okay. However, climate says that there have been some disagreement about the way in which Harvey actually met his demise. Now remember, they're saying it was a apparent suicide, but there's some skeptics. A flirty and prankster, Harvey is known to creep through the Mission Point resort. Anyways, he's known to creep through the rooms at night, going into the bed with the guest and jumping on the mattresses. Now that would be a freaky fucking ghost. Could you imagine sitting there and you're dead asleep and you feel somebody just crawl up beside you and you know it's not your mate? Yeah, that would be kind of creepy. That would be weird, Bilbo Boggins. He is also said to frequent Missions Point highly haunted theater, poking and pinching female guests, and making himself known through other stuff through the show. So apparently he messes with you and laughs with you through the show. So he's a little prankster, like they said. Todd Clemens believes that he first saw Harvey on Macon's Island's bluffs when he was 21 years old, a moment that was a launching point for Clement's lifelong love of the paranormal. He believes he had numerous encounters with Harvey since even in the middle of haunts of the McKinney ghost tours. So apparently at night during the Halloween season, they turn into a haunted house, which is awesome. Now here's another little thing about this little point I got. This is called the drowning pool. Legend goes that the drowning pool was once used to drown the witches on the island. Though resort owners have since pointed out that the pond did not form until the early 1900s, despite the dubious nature of the drowning pool claim. Many guests and visitors have reported seeing shadow figures lurking around the banks of the pool. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Alright, let's see what else we got on this bad boy. Okay, now this is probably going to cover some of the stuff I've already said, but we'll do it anyway. Harvey's specter is most often encountered around the resort's theater soundstage, where people report being touched or pinched by an unseen entity. This is said to happen to women more than men, leading many to consider Harvey's quite the little flirtatious ghost. Although his presence in the theater, Harvey's apparition encountered throughout the resort, his spirit is encountered through the whole resort grounds. Around the cliff where he is said to have died, are wandering the hotel halls. Sorry if y'all hear fighting in the back. I've got the studio door open today because no one's here. It's just me. Got the house to myself. And when I'm by myself, I keep the door open. So if you hear them fighting, it's them running around the house like a bunch of freaking madmen right now. My cat and my dog going, yeah, woo! All right. Another spirit to encounter at the resort is that of Lucy. Reportedly, the spirit of a young girl who took ill on the island and was left there while her parents attended business in Detroit. Man, how could you leave your kid behind like that? Going to, especially back then, because traveling took so long. I don't know. When they returned, she had already died, or so the story goes. Yeah, why would you leave your kid while she was sick? That's fucked up. Now Lucy's ghost is regularly occurrences. Now Lucy's ghost is a ghostly. Oh God. Sorry about that, guys. Now Lucy's ghost is a regular occurrence around the mission, often appearing as a shadow apparition on the hotel balconies. Along with that, guests have also claimed to hear the disembodied voice of a young girl calling for her parents, with many figuring it is Lucy, still searching for the family that left her behind all these years ago. That is fucking sad, man. I mean, why would you leave your kid in there while you go on business? Don't make any damn sense. But that would flip me out if I heard a little girl's voice. I'd get flipped out if I heard anything. That's why I really, really want to do a podcast while people are doing a paranormal investigation. I just think that would be pretty awesome. I could tell some stories about the place. Why? They're doing their investigation. Alright, let's get on with our next story. You know I edit this while I go through. Alright. Alright, our next story is the Marquette Harbor Lighthouse. The big red lighthouse that proudly stands at the entrance of the harbor was built in 1865 and is now maintained by the Maritime Museum, excuse me, which also gives tours of historic lighthouses. On different occasions, tour guides and visitors have seen a ghost of a little girl wearing a 1910 style dress. Sometimes she is seen staring out of the window over Lake Superior on the catwalk around the lantern. She seems to look showing her spirit to women or other children. Oh. There was no reported death of a little girl at the lighthouse. However, there was a young daughter of a keeper who was badly injured when she fell on the rocks at the shoreline. Interestingly, it happened shortly after the turn of the century. I don't know if the lighthouse is haunted, but strangely, a lot of lighthouse keepers have resigned their duties while serving at the Big Red Lighthouse. Excuse me. So be sure you watch your back when you're there. And I'm sorry, some of these are short. Some of these are kind of long. Some are just there. But let's, no, I'll take a break after this next one. Alright, let's do our next one. Hope you're ready. Alright, this is the Big Bay Lighthouse. It's in Michigan too. All of these are in Michigan today. The Big Bay Lighthouse was built the Big Bay Light was built first lit in 1896. The building was constructed of red brick and reinforced concrete. It sits on a rocky ledge over Lake Superior, and its location was chosen due to the number of shipwrecks that had wrecked on the Big Bay Point in the past. That's normally what they would do on coastlines. They would find the spot where people was having their most wrecks, because like at night you couldn't see, what was out there in these bays, and some of them were shallow, and they'd wreck their stuff on the jagged edges, rocks. So they started doing that, making the lighthouses. Now, where was I when I was trying to be Mr. History Buff over here? Okay. The tower of the light stands somewhere between 89 and 100 feet tall. At the tallest point of the tower, at the tallest point of the tower. The corridors were originally set up as a duplex with several bedrooms, a kitchen, parlor, and dining room. The accommodations were suited for 2 keepers to live at the light. The light was automated in 1941, which eliminated the need for keepers to stay at the lighthouse. In the early 1950s, the lighthouse and its surrounding areas were leased to the U.S. Army and was used to run drills and training. During this time, the high-profile murder occurred involving one of these soldiers, which you can read about. That's if you click here. After the Army pulled out of the area, the building was abandoned. In 1961, a man named John Peake bought the property with the intentions of turning it into his summer home. The building was incredibly decaying. Most windows were broken, parts of the roof were missing, and much of the plaster had eroded. He spent 17 years restoring the building and furnishing it with antiques. Unfortunately, by the time the building was livable, Peake was in his 80s and his death was failing. His health was failing. He ended up selling the property to a man named Don Hitchens in 1979. Hitchens, like Peck, began construction on the property in order to convert it into a bed and breakfast. Notably, he added more bedrooms, conference rooms, and bathrooms to the extended buildings. Hitchens sold the property to an investment group 5 years later. The heads of the investment groups, Norman and Merlin Cashall, added onto the property further. They purchased more of the surrounding land and forged hiking trails. They also restored and reopened the fog signal building on the property too. Well, a fog signal was the big old horn. You'd hear a meh. That meant the fog was bad, I guess. The bed and breakfast officially opened in 1986. They sold the operation in 1992 to the current owners, John Gale and Linda Campbell. They sold. The trio are evade. Never mind. All right, now we're going to talk about the hauntings. The number of deaths at the lighthouse is unknown. One is heavily recorded and connected to one of these supposed spirits at the light. William Parr was the light's first keeper. He left the assistant keeper in charge one day to visit his ill sister in Marquette. When he returned, he found that his assistant keeper had not done his duties. Pryor fired him for his negligence and hired his son George to take his place. Unfortunately, this decision would lead to his son's deaths in 1901. Georgia fell down some steps in the lighthouse. He was taken to the hospital in Marquette, where I'm probably saying that wrong, and I'm sorry. That's where he died. His injuries, where he died from his injuries 2 months after the accident. Apparently disappointed and deeply depressed over the death of his son, William walked into the woods surrounding the lighthouse with a pistol. A year later, his skeleton was found hanging from a tree about a mile into the woods. Many people believe that he died by suicide. Some believe that there was foul play involved. The spirit of William Perry is often seen in mirrors and is said to turn faucets on and off. Ew. There have been numerous reports of sailors on the land and in the lighthouse itself. The age of error of the uniforms have not been described, but it does not seem unlikely to me that there are lost souls in Lake Superior. Yeah, I mean, I think there are, because that's a big lake. It's like a mini ocean, dude. So, and it's deep. It's very deep, too, so. Ain't no telling what happened out there on that water. There have also been numerous reports of sailors on the land and in the lighthouse itself. Oh, sorry, I just fucking said that. 350 shipwrecks still lie on the lake floor. Who knows what lonely souls have made their way from its depths and towards Big Bay Point's light. A more nebulous theory theory that has little proof is that the spirit of a murdered woman also haunts the light. As story goes, she was lured to the light during the short period of abandonment in the 1950s and murdered. After nearly an hour of research, I could not find any. They couldn't find anything, so they don't know if this story is true or not. But if you're ever there, go by. It's a bed and breakfast, and it's pretty cool. I have to put that on my bucket list. That'd be kind of cool to go check out, you know. You could do some paranormal research and get some history and go to an old lighthouse. That would be too sweet. Sorry, guys. I was getting a swallow of water. Alright. Hope everybody's having a scary time so far. Well, excuse me. And we're going to take a quick little break right here. Yeah, I shortened it, so. Oh, sorry about that. I'm over here being quiet, but y'all know how I roll. I do all my editing while I'm doing my show, man. Hope you are liking my stories so far. Let's see. I'm on 1, 2, 3. Okay, 4. Okay. Alright, alright. We are back in business, guys. Let me get a drink of Wawa. All right. Our next story is Big Bay Point Lighthouse in Big Bay, Michigan. And I don't know why I'm talking like this. Big Bay Big Bay Point Lighthouse, and it's a bed and breakfast too now. Big Bay Point Lighthouse was built in 1896. It stands alone on the lonely but dramatically beautiful Big Bay Point, jouting into Lake Superior, about 25 miles northwest of the Marquita. Sorry if I'm butchering it again. Just to the north of the quaint town of Big Bay. Excuse me. The original lighthouse keeper, William Perr. What the fuck? I just said this. Let's keep reading this because this is weird. I'm not lying. It's okay. He's said to have been both an ordinary and hardworking keeper of the light and a perfectionist when it comes to the duties of tending to the light in the grounds. His logbook journal was filled with rants about the incompetence and weak and the work ethic of the assistant keepers. So when Perry's son, when Perry's son took on the job, he did so with a sense of fear about his father's demise and quick temper. One day, while working on the pier on the north side of the point, he lost his balance and fell on the concrete, cracking his shin bone and cutting himself. Afraid of his father's temper, he continued working hard, keeping up the grounds as his father would have wished him to. Not long after that, though, gout set in, and the young man fell seriously ill and passed away. With no clear trails of roads in Big Bay at this time, the fastest way to the to the town of Marquette to receive medical assistance was by rowboat. The father William rowed fearlessly to the town with all his might to save his ill son. But it was too late. The boy died in the rowboat before he could reach the shore. Returning to Big Bay the following day and failing further into depression, Mr. Pryor left a note on the table for Jenny Beamer, the wife of another assistant lightkeeper, reading, Jenny, that's it. I'm taking a gun and cyanide into the woods. Goodbye. Theory goes that Jenny, no stranger to Mr. Pryor's, ordinarily personally happened upon him in the woods, debating which weapon to use, gun or cyanide or gun. Jenny just so happened to have a lengthy rope with her in her hand, approached him and said, "Oh, William, having a problem? I have a solution. Stand on my basket and take this rope around your neck, and we'll make this quick and easy for you." Man, this kind of sounds like what I just fucking talked about, but it's two different lighthouses in two different places. Alright, guys, I'm back. I had to stop. I had a visitor come by the house while I was recording, but it's all good. If you hear any noise in the background, it's just my son Jackson. I got the door open. It's just me and him today, so. Alright, I'm back, guys. I had a visitor come in. Like I said, nobody was here. It's just my niece's boyfriend dropping off my son. But it's just me and him, so if you hear any noise in the background, it's just him playing his game. But anyways, where was I? Okay, now this story is sounding just like the one I got through reading, and I swear to God that these are both different places, but they sound just alike, and it's weird. Okay, we was at where he lost his son. He was falling in deep depression. And then he left the note. Okay, he left the note on the table. We read all that. He killed himself. Okay, then 2 years earlier, or 2 years later, a walker came across the head of Mr. Pryor hanging from a maple tree about 2 miles into the woods from the lighthouse. Now that's effed up. 2 years later, they find his body. Damn. He must have been thick in the woods. To this day, reports of visitors staying at the lighthouse bed and breakfast are awakened by the ghost of an elderly groundskeeper with Coast Guard attire and a thick red mustache, standing at the foot of the bed in the middle of the night. One moment he's there, the next minute he vanishes. Ooh, that is crazy. Crazy, I tell you. Okay. Just making sure I got everything in my ducks in a row here. I think I know where. No, I don't know, but that's weird. I hope you thought that story was pretty creepy. I'd love to go to some of these old lighthouses. I think that'd be pretty effing neat. I think it'd be pretty cool, if you know what I mean. Alright, guys, let's get ready for the next story. Our next story is the Bay Cliff Health Camp in Big Bay, Cabin 13. Now, this is also on the same island as the Miscani, or the Mechanic, the McKnight Island. I've already covered that on the first one, but this is on the same island. Located about 25 miles northwest of Marquette. That name gives me hell. But anyways, northwest of that town in the Biggs Bay is Biggs Cliff Health Camp, a non-profit summer therapy camp for children who need assistance with the physical training, or not training, but a physical therapy. And they had speech classes, hearing, and vision therapy. The 130-acre property is a northern Michigan vista surrounded with a hardwood forest and gorgeous views of Lake Independence and Lake Superior. Bay Cliff was built in 1934 and was compressed of numerous cabins, lunch halls, common rooms, meeting spaces, and outdoor parks. It was originally open to care for the children before turning its focus to the more therapy-based camp it is today. So at first it was for children and some of their disabilities, but now it's just overall just a therapy camp. Rumors have been spread of spirits and ghostly figures of past residents and children haunting the old cabins and common rooms of the camp. The haunting of Cabin 13 continues to be one of the most told. It is reported that long ago there was a child named Sam staying at the camp, a boy who committed suicide and whose ghost still haunts Bay Cliff. Periodically, the cabin he stayed in during his time there. So he would come back and haunt the place where he stayed, the cabin he stayed at, and committed the suicide. Sam's cabin walls are covered with his artwork as well as the paintings of the artist he so dearly admired at the time. The story goes that one night at camp, another resident began bullying Sam for his nerdiness and his nerdy appearance and the size and the shape of his glasses. The resident continued to bully Sam, destroying some of his artwork and stomping on his glasses. Now having the ability to see paint without his glasses. Basically, I guess they're trying to say is that now he can't see really without his glasses because he's blind. Like me, if I don't have my glasses, I'm a blind fool. Some was Sam was unable to protect his artwork, that this guy destroyed his works and fell into a severe depression. It is said that Sam went to the center room at Sam's place and used the sharp tip of an old feather pen as a knife to end his life. Oh Lord. Sam's ghost is said to haunt Cabin 13 till its very day. Campers have claimed that heavy paintings on the wall of the cabin will fall to the ground and at night wake them up from their sleep. Then, just as they were about to hang the painting back in the wall in its place, the painting would mysteriously float off and hit the ground. And no, wait a minute. They're saying that sometimes it would fall off the ground and it would be put back on the ground. I mean, put back on the wall is what they're trying to say. It's what I'm trying to say. It would get knocked off the wall and they'd pick it up, or a spirit or something would pick it up and put it back up on the wall. It would hang itself back on the wall. Okay, so if you ever go to the Cliffs Health Camp, go to Cabin 13. Get the bejeezies scared out of you by the good old ghost Sam. Alright, let's check our next story. Sorry if my reading sometimes sucks, guys. But I'm just doing my best. But I hope y'all are enjoying the show. Let's get to the next story. The next story is this Seul Choix Point Lighthouse in Gulliver, Michigan. The Seul Choix Point is a rugged, rocky stretch of land that juts out in the northern shore of Lake Michigan, home to a lighthouse over 100 years old. The translation of the bay's name is "Only Chosen," given in the 1800s after a group of French fur traders came into the trouble amongst the location of furious waves. So basically, they was out there and they got caught in a bunch of big old bad waves, caught in the middle of a storm that threatened to capsize the tiny vessel. That's hard to believe, though, in the Great Lakes, that the waves can get big enough to make vessels go over. Okay, they were forced to seek refuge on the land's dangerous coastline. It really was their only choice. That's why it's called Only Choice. The lighthouse itself wasn't put into work until 1886, and 6 years later it became operational. So they started building on it in 1886. 6 years later it became operational. Finally, construction was complete in 1895. The lighthouse was 79 feet high, and the entire complex consisted of a stable of family quarters, a boiler house, and a steam fog signal. Once again, that's that machine that would go rah, rah. You'd hear it a lot on the Scooby-Doo back in the day. It was home to the lighthouse keeper and his family, along with the assistants and his family. Altogether, that's made up 4 adults and at least 6 children in a small area. The lighthouse keeper was from Bristol, England. He lived in the complex until 1910, when he died from tuberculosis in the upstairs bedroom. Unfortunately, with it being midwinter, the ground was too frozen to dig a grave. Since he could not be buried, his body was stored in the basement until the ground could thaw several months later. It is said that his soul became stuck at the lighthouse during that period of not being put to rest. The keeper was a heavy smoker, heavy smoker. Even at his death, one of the most reported phenomenal activities is the visitors often smell tobacco, even though smoking isn't allowed on the premises. Another is a resident in oh God, here we go. Another is of a imprint of the morning on the okay. In the morning there'll be a imprint on the bed that used to belong to him, as though some have said here before the staff arrived. The eeriest are reports of sightings of the keeper himself. So apparently he comes back into that room and his intention will be on that bed. That's fucking crazy. Man, I'd go cuckoo if I seen that. Especially if it's just flat and then you see an indentation. Yeah, if the shit I'm out. Many visitors have seen a man walking around the grounds wearing a heavy blue coat that matched the keeper's description. However, he never seems to acknowledge the visitors. Other people talk of seeing a figure man walking them, watching them from a window halfway up the lighthouse, even though no one is currently inside it. Pretty creepy. Okay, what do we got next? Ooh. All right. Our next one is Fort Holmes. Basically, this is going to be talking about Fort Holmes and other stuff, and it's the same island again. That's a Magneck Island in Michigan. I'm probably butchering that name, so anybody from Michigan, please correct me. But this is on that same island. This island, for being a little island, has a lot of spooky shit in it. Okay, here we go. Might be a jealous boyfriend. Might a jealous boyfriend have done the deed to keep heart? What the flimity flams going on here? My notes are all screwed up, and I had them right. What's going on here? Okay. Here we go, I think. Okay, we're trying to see where I need to go here. Okay, here are some of the stories of the island and the stories that go on there. Among other stories, oh, well, what the hell? Okay, here we go. I'm sorry. Here's what some of the people see when they're on the island and all. What they see here and all that when they're on the island. There have been many accounts of ghosts being seen inside Fort Holmes. And it's an old fort. The restored British stronghold atop Macnac Island, Macnac Island's highest point. It's a popular spot for stargazers, but many people also have reported seeing, 3 soldiers. Then, poof, they disappear as if they've never been there. Then we have the story of Lucy. The story of Lucy is a young girl who reportedly has been seen in many locations on the island. Through the years, she has curly hair and wears a long colored sundress and has been seen following people on the staircase at the Crow's Nest, peeking out of the window at Pine Cottage, and several occasions during the haunted time during Halloween there. So, man, this island has a lot of creepy stuff. So, you people from Michigan, let me know about this island. I'm really interested in it. They got a lot of creepy stuff there. We got two more stories. Now, this one's going to be pretty good. Sorry if that one wasn't that long. Kind of ran together with the other story, but sorry. Okay, our next story is the old Preschool Lighthouse in Michigan. Standing as a guided beacon along the shores of Lake Huron in northeast Michigan, Old Presque Lighthouse still is seen today as a reminder of the Great Lakes maritime past. Built in 1840 for those eerie, spine-chilling vibes. Oh wait, no, sorry. Built in 1840 of stone and brick, the historical site has quite the background and is even known for its eerie and spine-chilling vibes. Here is the history of the place. Following the War of 1812 and the increased use of Lake Huron being used for the shipping and passage, it was decided that a lighthouse should be constructed there. Congress got funds in 1938 to pay for the beacon to be built. The total cost to build the lighthouse then was around $5,000. Oh my God. That's like quadrupled now. This lighthouse was the first built along the desolate shores of northeast Michigan. In 1840, it was constructed to provide a guide light for the ships and sailors abroad passing by. It is still known as one of the oldest lighthouses on the Great Lakes. Old Presque Lighthouse was built two and third stone and 1/3 brick. It stands about 30 feet tall and it is 18 feet around at the base. The first keeper of the lighthouse was named Henry Woosley. He served until 1847. He was paid about $350 a year, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, and back then that was money. Over the duration of the lighthouse years in operation, a total of five light keepers held the position. The final light keeper's name was Patrick Garrity Sr. He was appointed by President Abraham Lincoln in 1861. He remained in leadership over the lighthouse until he was deceased. That the old keeper station was deteriorating with time. In 1870, it was determined that the new lighthouse would be constructed. Patrick and his family moved to the new location in 1871. The new lighthouse was taller and was a lot brighter than the other one, so that way the passing boats could see it better. Over the next 100 years, the old lighthouse was sold to various people. Modifications were made as well, and a new light keeper station was being constructed. It was finally recognized as a historical place in 1964. Here are some of the spooky sights. It was during a family vacation that we stopped on our journey at this historical lighthouse. It seemed lost in time out there in the desolate wooded area left to stand there through the years of harsh weather. The harsh weather of Michigan, the harsh weather of Michigan winters. As we toured the lightkeeper's house, an elderly tour guide warned us of mysterious occurrences that have happened to occur at the top of the light. Numerous visitors have complained that they have experienced paranormal happenings. Some photos are even on display in the lightkeeper house for the visitors to see. As we climbed into the top of the historical structure, there was an eerie feeling in the air. Yet there was nothing to be seen that sparked a notice of suspicious sightings. It was days later, after we returned home and were reviewing our photos, that we came across the photo shown below. Well, you can't see that, but the photo was taken by my father due to his funky lenses. We glanced over the photo to see what looked to be a ghostly figure standing back into the camera. Look at the photo below. Anyway, okay. The figure is also wearing a captain's hat as the lady in the lightkeeper station warned. The sightings often are of an elderly man wearing a captain's hat and captain's uniform. Other visitors have described their experience at the lighthouse, and local legends have their tales. One story is of a young girl who is playing at the top of the lighthouse, and it's always little girls at these lighthouses. I mean, man, no wonder there were so many guys back then. The story goes of a little girl playing at the top of the lighthouse. When she descended from the lighthouse, her parents asked her who she had been talking to. Her reply was, "The nice old man," but no one else had been up there with her. Later, she identified from a photo that the man she spoke to at top of the lighthouse as Mr. Paris, who had passed away years before. Mr. Paris's wife had her own tales of encounters with her late husband. She was on her way to the door to get groceries during the lightning storm when she was unable to leave. The door had been blocked to leave the lightkeeper's cottage. Just as she let go of the handle, realizing the door would not allow her to open it, lightning struck outside where she would have stood if the door wouldn't have been jammed. So she thinks that was her husband looking over after her. That's pretty cool. Even in death, he's still looking out for his gal because he loves her so much. See, I like ghost stories like that. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Alright, I think I got one more story for us, guys. And then it's all to use. This is the ghost of Ellis Frisky at Hell's Bridge in Rockford, Michigan. Northwest of Rockford, this rickety old metal footbridge crosses the Ragu River and has been doomed as Hell's Bridge. Urban legend has it that this spot where I'm this is that this spot where a man killed several children. You can hear their screams at night and see their faces in the water in the flowing river below. I have read different versions of the legend on the internet, but as the story goes, excuse me, in the 1800s, a man by the name of Ellis Frisky, who lived near the river, either kidnapped children or was asked to watch a group of children. But he took them down to the river where the current metal bridge crosses. They say he was submerged by, or he was summoned by a demon to murder the innocent children. Either he buried their bodies under the leaves near the river or threw them into the river to be carried downstream. When the townspeople of Rockford began looking for their children, they found Ellis Frisky covered in blood, and he hanged himself from the bridge over the Raku River. So it's a bridge. That's where he hung himself on after he killed all these kids. This is the geist of the urban legend. I'm not sure how true it is, or if any of this is true. I looked for Ellis Frisky on WWF Find a Grave, but I did not see him listed on there anywhere. I'm thinking he was a fictional person and a story created to scare the local teenagers. It has grown over time, and especially on the internet. So, if you're from Michigan, hook a brother up, man. Tell me about this place, and I sure would talk about it. Well, guys, I'm sorry, but it's came to an end. Story time's over. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Sorry for me stumbling through this stuff. But I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. You're great listeners. Remember, check me out on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon. We're pretty much everywhere. I mean, I got this podcast anywhere you can find it. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. I'm going to be busting my butt tonight, but you won't hear this till tomorrow. So I'm going to stay up tonight getting this stuff put on the YouTube to get that channel caught up. But go check it out. I do videos there too. And just want to say thanks again, guys, because y'all really, I'm getting a consistent downloads between 300 to 400 downloads a month. So let's keep it up, keep this show growing, guys, because maybe I can do this for a living, start making some money off of it, and spend more time on it. But I'm going to make more time anyway, because you know why I like doing it? I like telling the stories. I'm so glad you guys listen, and I'm so glad you guys like it. But until then, be scary, be creepy. And like I said, go to Ghost Stories on Facebook. Go to Ghost Stories Told from the South on Facebook. And talk to me there on my DMs. And you can tell me your story, and I'll talk about it on the internet. Or give me something on the show. Or give me something to look up in your town, and I'll talk about it. But anyways, guys, it's been good. It's been real. Love you guys. Have a great weekend. Have a great Memorial weekend. And if you see anybody who served, tell them thank you very much. But you guys be good, be real, be scary. This is Stephen LeBooth signing off. And we will see you later. Watch this. Oh. Well, guys, be good. I'm going to get the channel caught up this weekend. So keep liking my videos like you guys are doing. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. See you later, man. Be scary. Be safe this weekend. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get this channel going. I love telling these scary stories. See you later. This has been Ghost Stories Told from the South. I'm your host, Stephen LeBooth, baby. Be cool. Be scary. We'll see you later.